All right. Take it away.
Hello. Oh, there we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Flutter Fridays.
Welcome.
And let's get this on stage. And so today we're going to have a special appearance from the one and only Chris Swan. Hi, Chris.
Hello. So go ahead, Xavier. You are the man, the captain.
Shall we wait a little bit longer just to get some people in here?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And notice we're at 8 right now.
Everyone's getting their coffee and stuff.
Top of the hour, people are running around.
It happens.
I wonder what that looks like on the energy grid. It's like people are turning the lights on in their houses or going into corridors in office blocks that spark up the lights or whatever.
Probably get that data set. It might be public. I would assume so anyway, right? Oh, Jeremy got a French vanilla. It's like my favorite type. I actually had French vanilla this morning.
Nice.
It's that Nescafe or Nestle. It's the coffee one.
Yeah, Nescafe.
It's so good, man. It's so smooth.
I roll with the Nescafe hazelnut one.
Oh, that's a good one too. We're not sponsored by Nescafe. But Nescafe, if you do want to.
We're accepting sponsorships. All right. I think we're just about ready to get started here. Let me head on down and I guess we should make sure that people are in the Menti first. So if you want to, what you can do is you can head on over to menti.com and use the code in the top of the screen. So that's 71986629.
I will put that in the chat for everyone as well.
Perfect. And just so that we know that you're in here, maybe give a little heart and we'll see the number go up in the bottom right there.
Eight 6629. There it is. Well, I guess while we're waiting, Chris, would you like to intro yourself?
Sure thing. So hi folks, I'm Chris Swan, engineer at Sign. So I get to work with Tyler and Xavier pretty much every day on the cool things that we're building. My focus at Sign is on the scalability, reliability, and operability of the platform and helping the rest of the engineering team be able to deliver stuff onto that. And since we built the platform in Dart, I guess that's mostly what we're going to be talking about today.
All right. That is right. This will be a Dart-themed Flutter quiz.
Well, Dart is the language that people have to learn in order to do stuff with Flutter.
Exactly.
That is true.
So it's not a complete curveball.
And Tyler, do we have some questions prepared for Chris?
We do indeed. I will pull that up. So Chris, you are a Google developer expert in Dart as well. What is that? What is a Google developer expert?
Google developer experts are people that have been recognized by Google as contributing to the communities that exist around Google products and services. So there's various different types of GDE. So normally Dart goes along with Flutter. Pretty much all of the Dart GDEs are also Flutter GDEs. That's not the case in my instance because I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff with Dart, but hardly anything with Flutter. I occasionally get involved in building sort of demo apps for some of our things in Flutter. But I've been learning loads on the last two Flutter Fridays and doing really badly on some of the quiz questions because I'm not a Flutter expert. So you get GDEs in other things that Google has out there. So you see them for Google Cloud Platform, for web technologies like Angular. And so when the GDEs kind of occasionally get together as a group, it's quite a varied crowd because it's not all just people doing stuff with Flutter and Dart. And then the way that you get to become a GDE is, firstly, find an existing GDE that can help you through the process. So yeah, I think that's necessary from a perspective of being recommended in the first place, but also they know what needs to be done in terms of the things that you need to do and the forms that you need to fill out, saying that you've done those things. And so in my case, I reached out to Majid, who I got to meet at one of the Android events in London last year, and who's subsequently run the Flutter Vikings event, which was a tremendous get-together of the Flutter community. And he's been a GDE for a long time now and helped a whole bunch of people through the process. And of course, now that I've been accepted into the program myself, then I'm poised and ready to help other people become GDEs too.
Woo! Let's go. Well, that answered all of my questions without even needing to ask.
There you go. So I think we're just about ready to get started here. We're about 7 minutes in, so let's take it away.
All right.
But I guess before we get into the fun, we do have a few rules to talk about. We'll keep it nice and brief. But, the 3 things: make sure to have fun, be nice to people, just as you'd want them to be nice to you. And if you have any questions, please ask them in chat. We love questions. So let's get started. So prizes. We have first place a $25 gift card, and then second and third place will be a $15 and $10 gift card. And so just before we actually get into the quiz, we wanted to ask you, what are you developing on? And so is it Windows? Is it an M1 or M2 Mac, an Intel Mac, Linux, or is it something other? And if it's something other, we'd love to hear what it is in the comments. So
I think there's kind of a hybrid choice here as well. So I have a Windows desktop machine, which is what I use day in, day out. But most of the things I do with Dart and Flutter are inside of Linux, in Windows subsystem for Linux.
Yep. Maybe we should have added that as an option.
Yeah,
I guess
about that.
I guess you're still a Windows person in that case, right? But
yeah, I'd count myself as a Windows person.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I run VS Code in Windows.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Our next week's question needs to be
do I have
what
to-
RPE to use.
Oh, was this one listed as somebody winning?
No. One of the. It's whoever. Oh, wait, what? Is there only like one person can vote on?
It's. I guess we're not showing the correct.
Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, you know what it is? It's showing the. I guess the most people in chat are on M1 or M2.
Oh.
So, there you go.
Nice, fast new machines. And I guess the advantage of having a Mac here is, if you're developing for Flutter, then a Mac's going to let you run Xcode. And Xcode's a kind of necessary part of the process to get those iOS applications published. And the M1, M2 stuff is just so fast. And I think as well, because all of the devices now are ARM based, it's a good thing to have an ARM CPU on your laptop when you're developing for that stuff.
I mean, I upgraded just last year, or not even, like this summer, and it's already outperforming like my workstation PC that I've slowly, incrementally been upgrading. So it's very impressive what Apple has done with those. So
Not sponsored by Apple either, but Apple.
All right, now let's get into the real fun. Ready,
Woo!
set, Dart. So question 1 of 11. Let's see how many people we've got in here. I see a number of fun people. We've got Santa joining us today.
This is like picking the token that you have in a board game, isn't it? It's kind of, I see the top hat there and it immediately makes me think of playing Monopoly.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Xavier, press enter or return instead of next slide, so you don't skip the question.
Sorry.
Here we go. So pub.dev contains packages you can use in blank applications. Java and Flutter, Dart and Flutter, Swift and Flutter, or all of the above. I gave a little bit of extra time for some of these questions because they're either a lot to read or they don't have enough time to look at all the options and think about it.
Yeah, so Dart and Flutter for this one. While technically with some Flutter packages you can have some Swift or some Java code nested in there, those are really like Java and Swift projects that are included with the package, so they're not really like part of the package themselves.
So do we get to see who's taking the lead now?
We do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. I think I just
Yeah, you did.
answered that question. Ooh, nice and close.
Kelvin, I see Kelvin again. Kelvin is Santa.
He's too fast.
He is.
All right. So this is where I press enter.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Question 2. Dart supports multiple processor architectures.
Ooh.
True or false?
Turn up this music, man. It's so good.
True. Why is it true?
Well, it's true because Dart supports a whole bunch of underlying platforms, and so we were just talking about the fact that most of the handsets these days are ARM, but where we're running Dart on the desktop, then that needs to be ARM and 64-bit x86. And so ARM itself is even multiple architectures. So there's ARM v7, which is the older 32-bit stuff. Some of the earlier Raspberry Pis are like that. And then ARM 64. And actually, there's a wrinkle there even. If you're running 32-bit operating system on your Raspberry Pi, even if it's a 64-bit processor, it kind of shows up as being ARM v7 from a software perspective. So we've been building some of our stuff on Raspberry Pis in the cloud in order to get the ARM v7 binaries and Docker images and that kind of thing. But the new hotness is RISC-V. So Dart 218 has got kind of early support for that. And our CTO has been playing around with that all in emulation at first, but he actually got a single board computer from like AliExpress or something like that that he's been trying out some Dart binaries on, and it's been working pretty good.
It's awesome. Let's go.
Awesome stuff. I think I mentioned in one of the earlier sessions how much like trying to run Doom on many things, people are starting to do that with Dart now. So that's been quite fun to see some of the places people have been putting Dart. So
he's gonna run Dart on a potato.
Oh, that would be an accomplishment.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's the tight race at the top again.
It is. Everyone's really fast at answering these.
All right. Question 3. What do we have next? Some of these questions that we put together are quite difficult.
They are.
Dart supports the following operating systems. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So what operating systems does Dart support here?
Oh, it's a tough one. Am I out of focus? Oh, camera. Camera. I don't
All
know.
of the
Okay.
above. Yeah. So
Is that one of those questions where people like saw something that was a right answer and clicked on it before realizing that there was other right answers and it was going to
yeah.
That's what
I
the
think-
time pressure does to people.
It happens sometimes, yeah. Unfortunately, we're looking for the most correct answer here, so. All right, is Tyler back?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
A little fuzzy, but we got you.
Very-
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what happened to my camera. I guess it's also pretty tired.
Okay, so we're burning through this, but yeah, I think based on what we talked about at the beginning, it's should be pretty obvious that you can use Windows, Linux, or Mac. So Dart can be compiled as an ahead-of-time binary. You probably more often see this as AOT.
Ooh. Honestly, before this quiz, I didn't even know this.
So
So,
I think. Go ahead, Chris.
Let's talk about AOT binaries. So Dart is a VM language, a bit like Java. And so when we say Dart run, myapp.dart, it's spinning up the virtual machine and turning the source code into bytecode and then interpreting the bytecode inside of the virtual machine and then optimizing that bytecode using a just-in-time compiler. And so the thing about that is it's kind of slow to start up, but it can really optimize the performance over time because the just-in-time compiler is seeing real-world code with real-world input and figuring out how best to deal with that. But the other option with Dart is an ahead-of-time binary. So we can say Dart compile exe, our source code, and that takes a little while longer than Dart running it to just start up. But then you've got a binary that starts up in a fraction of a second, and they're normally really small. But the real fun is some of the options in the middle. So you can also Dart compile into snapshots. So there's kernel snapshots and JIT snapshots. I've recently been doing some experimentation with JIT snapshots. And the idea there is because the compiler's already done some work to understand your application, the runtime can spin up fairly quickly, but then you can still get those kind of ongoing just-in-time optimizations over time. And that might, in the long run, outperform an AOT binary. That's typically what we see in Java land. And so, I would expect similar kind of things to happen with Dart.
All right.
Ooh. I love the leaderboard. I love how anxiety inducing it is.
Very competitive. It definitely is a race today.
Yeah.
All right, next question. You can run Dart in a Docker container using which of the following operating systems? So again, single select answer here, as generally all of our questions are. So sorry if that confused anybody. Next time we'll note that up front, I think.
Are they able to select more than one answer?
No, I think that was the assumption with the previous question.
Oh, whoops. Ooh.
This has caught a whole bunch of people out. So yeah, one person got it right. So the Docker images for Dart are only available for Linux. So they're available for all of the supported Linux instruction set architectures at the moment. So you can get 64-bit x86 and 64-bit ARM and ARM v7 32-bit ARM. RISC-V hasn't come yet. I know there's an issue on the Docker board to get that done. But they're all Linux images, and so for Docker, it's possible to have images based upon other operating systems, which would run in Docker on those other operating systems, and also need to have libraries associated with those. So we'll probably get into some of the philosophical underpinnings of Dart in a minute, around why there's even a need to think about runtime libraries.
All right.
So that's going to have messed up the leaderboard.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think the leaderboard moved. I think someone.
So the person who got it right wasn't one of the leaders.
Hopefully that helps you get back up there.
The comeback is on.
So binaries are statically linked in Dart.
Ooh, some
True or
tough
false?
questions today.
We got the good music for this one.
Turn it up. Nice.
Wow, a lot of people knew this one. Yeah. So one of the kind of really low-level decisions in Dart is it's a dynamically linked language. And so this is why in the Dart Docker image, there's a little directory of runtime stuff. And that runtime's kind of the minimum bunch of libraries that are needed out of libc and stuff, that the dynamic binary can link against. And so that's different from, say, Golang, where you can instruct the compiler to do a static binary. And kind of all it's doing there is copying in the binary from the operating system to statically link against. But it means there is a bit of a difference there between the two Google languages that people are building infrastructure software with.
Yeah, I thought we had an info slide for this one, but
we
maybe the leaderboard was mixed up there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, Chris even wrote a blog on this, I found, after searching for information on this question. And Chris is a very, very active blogger, and I recommend reading the knowledge that he has to share. And for everyone who hasn't been scanning the QR codes or clicking the links, we have another link / QR code at the end that has all of these resources compiled for you.
All right. So question 7 of 11. We're getting close. Oh, we already have someone that's going to go read it.
Woo!
7 of 11 always makes me think of Big Gulp.
So Dart is natively supported in Google Cloud Functions. True or false? Ooh, this one is a tricky one.
So yeah, Google Cloud Functions has got native support for a bunch of languages like Python, kind of like AWS Lambda. But even though Dart is a Google language, it doesn't have native support for Dart. So to package something up for Google Cloud Functions, you need to put it in a container. And there's the functions framework to help you do that, and also put some of the sort of boilerplate around your code for having it invoked as a function.
Ooh, this was a tough one.
All right.
I'm liking these questions. It's throwing people off today.
I think the leaderboard is going crazy today.
Yeah. Still some familiar names at the top, though.
It's a battle for first today.
It is.
All right, 8 of 11. Here we go. Flutter and command line Dart applications share blank of the same dev tools for debugging your applications. So we've got none, almost none, some, most, almost all, and all.
Ooh.
This one is tricky.
I think DevTools is one of the best things about Dart, though, because many sort of earlier languages, you have to go out and pay for tools like this, and they're all just built in.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. We've got a distribution going here.
Yeah.
A lot of answers. I think we do have something on this, so head on over. So yeah, the only thing not available if you're writing a Dart command line tool is the Flutter inspector, which makes sense. So that's 7 out of 8 tools that are available to you. And so you can read about those tools on dart.dev, and they have like a whole matrix of all the support for all the tools.
But the other thing that's important to note here is that .devtools only runs in the .vm for command line tools. And so if you've compiled an AOT binary, then you don't get all of the cool profiling and everything else, which kind of makes sense in terms of the binaries would be a lot bigger if you had all the stuff inside of them to do that. But it also means for us, we end up doing observable versions of our stuff, where I've just recently migrated those to using JIT snapshot instead of just Dart run, so that we can get things under the microscope and see what's happening with sort of garbage collection, memory allocation, flame graphs, and all of that cool stuff.
Yeah, that's something I didn't know about AOT binaries, so I'm learning.
There's so much to learn about Dart. It's actually crazy.
Yep.
Oh, and it's another disruption that they...
All right. Here we go. We've got 3 questions left here. So there's still time. There's still a chance.
There is.
The blank allows you to make use of C interfaces in your Dart applications. So this one's a bit tricky.
Uh-oh.
I know if I try reading these out, I'm going to completely mess something up. So I'll let y'all read.
I gave plenty of time for this question too. This is like one of those exam questions you get in school where they're like slightly similar but different.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There we go.
Yeah, a bunch of people right on the money there.
So it was either a debate between function and Flutter or interface and index. And so nobody got the one that was completely wrong, which is a good sign.
That is, yeah.
And so...
My favorite demo of this was the presentation Tim Sneath did at Flutter Vikings, where he's been going through all of the kind of Charles Petzold Win32 sample applications and redoing them in pure Dart, binding into the Win32 APIs, which are all defined in C.
And I think what was funny was our conversation yesterday and that about Windows on ARM and how some of these applications that Tim has recreated are more likely to run on those machines right now than some of the Windows applications are for the time being, which is quite impressive. So
what's even more impressive is that a lot of people knew that and have known a lot of these answers.
Yeah.
I would definitely not have done good on this quiz at all.
So, but there's also FF5 for a lot of other languages, so I think almost all, it's pretty standard for a language to have it now.
But it's always C that's used as the language to define the interface. There was a great blog post a little while back about, C's no longer a program or no longer just a programming language. It's become the de facto interface definition language.
Yep.
I will add that to our resource list.
Here we go. Last 2 questions.
All down to this.
The blank package builds upon Dart FFI to enable interoperability between Dart and WebAssembly.
My eyes aren't good enough for this one.
Sorry, I'll read them out. So we have web blank assembly, Dart blank, sorry, not blank, underscore web assembly. And then we have web assembly modules, and then we have WASM, and we have Dart WASM. Ooh, a good spread this time. The package is WASM. WASM.
So WASM is one of those sort of new hotness things that first came along in the browser, but people are running server side now. There's a cloud service called Workers from Cloudflare, which kind of started out with you could run JavaScript in a worker, and then that's got WASM support, which lets people write binaries for things that JavaScript isn't particularly good at. And the canonical example of that's normally things like image manipulation. So if you want to take pictures and turn them into thumbnails or something like that, then JavaScript's pretty lousy at doing that. But if you write up a little app in Rust or Dart or COBOL or whatever you can get to compile into WASM, then it can go a lot quicker.
I like the way WASM sounds. WASM. WASM.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
This one totally caught you off guard.
Oh, this is so close.
Wow. All right, so I think we have a little interruption here. So how ready are you for this final question?
So I think you just slide it, and then slide, and then submit, and then it will answer your question. This is a cool little diagram.
And so it takes the average of everybody, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
There we go. So it's a little bit shaky, yeah. Some of these questions were hard. But it seems everybody's here for the fun, so... Oh, okay. I think, oops.
Almost a draw.
Yeah.
Final question.
Here we go.
Are you guys ready? Here we go. What is mixins, or what are mixins? So they allow you to mix code arbitrarily together. They're Dart's version of garbage collection. They're a way of reusing a class's code in multiple class hierarchies. Or they're a music class in Dart that allows you to mix audio together.
No idea. I have no clue.
That'd be kind of a cool mix-in.
Nice. Wow. Everyone is so good at this.
There we go. Are you ready to see the final leaderboard?
Yeah.
I think we have the resource thing first, do we?
Do we have a resource for this one? We
I think
might.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. There you go. So there's a
You've
deep
been
dive
doing
into
cool
mixins.
stuff with mix-ins recently, haven't you, Xavier?
Yeah, so for one of our features, I was creating a stream for our server or our client code to stream values from our server. And so what it uses behind the scene is a mixin so that I can have the same logic applied to multiple different classes. So I have one that, generates a stream of lists, a stream of iterables, a stream of sets, a stream of just whatever value you want. So there's a bunch of different things, and that's all enabled by using a mixin behind the scenes. So
That sounds really useful.
yeah. So there are some useful things. In some cases, it's better to move over to an abstract class as opposed to a mixin. So I think initially I was using a mixin, but I was actually switched over to an abstract class. But it's good to know both and know when to use both. So yeah, it's worth reading up on.
All right.
All right.
Let's see who won. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, we could have an upset. At the
Oh man.
All right.
Damien
Congratulations.
snuck into the top 3 last minute.
Nice job.
Okay, so for our 3 winners, we should have a form coming up, which allows us to make sure we have the correct information for you.
Yep.
So that should be now. If you're not in the top 3, don't worry about it. You don't have to give us your info. In fact, we don't want it. But just for the purposes of making sure we issue the correct prizes, please give us your information in this form. And if there is no form, please let us know, because then we did
There
something
is.
wrong.
I got it.
Okay, perfect.
And we don't want your information because we don't love you guys. We're very data sensitive, and that's what we're here for. Privacy and stuff. @
Perfect. So I see 4 people in here still. I'll give you like 30 more seconds before we move on.
Damien put his Twitter in the chat.
Perfect.
Thank you, Damien. And congratulations to the winners, and thank you everyone for playing. I think we have the one more slide for all the resources and stuff. Oh yeah, we have a Q&A section that we've added. So if anyone has any questions for Xavier, myself, or Chris, this is the time.
You need to tell people about that at the start, so that they can
Yeah.
hang around.
Whoops.
Oopsies. I think we lost most of our people before that final little bit, so it's okay. We also have the comment section, but I think that's our last slide.
We have
There's
the
one more.
yeah.
Resources. The most important one. So there we go.
Oh, actually, let me go change the privileges on that
Perfect.
so that it is public.
Thanks for coming, Damien. We hope to see you again in a couple weeks. So I think we're just about ready to wrap up here. If you have a question, get it in super, super quick.
The song's always stuck in my head after these quizzes.
All right. So thanks everybody for playing, and thank you, Chris, for joining us this week.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
All right, and we will see everyone when, Xavier? When is our next
2 weeks. What day? I don't know what day that is, to be honest. Let me pull up a calendar. December 2nd. Is
There
that
it
correct? There you go.
That sounds right. It might be. Let's see. It is.
There we go.
All right, everyone. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.